capture 14, 15 years, walking up and down the hallways and working and having difficult times, and yet moments that you just overcome, and you just climbed another mountain together, whether it be someone on the other side of the aisle or somebody over on the other side of the building. How does one come to that revelation and to that point in your life to share just in a matter of a few minutes? It's difficult. It's difficult, but, Madam Speaker, I do greatly appreciate you for, you and I've had some interesting roads over the years and everything, and so I'll stop right there. I want to share, most of you know my wife, Pam. We've been married for 45 years. I know, you're thinking, oh, God bless that woman. She's had to be there for 45 years, but she's been really she's my best friend. Just a quick little journey. When I was 21 years old, I became a member of the Oregon State Police. For me, this was a dream fulfilled. Growing up, I had always wanted to protect others, and being a law enforcement officer was one of my top priorities in life. Hasn't changed for me. After 29 years with State Police and gaining enough memories of a lifetime, it was time to move on. Being a legislator was the last thing that was on my mind, on my bucket list, as far as this thing, and that probably might be the case for most of you too as well. But all of a sudden I found myself, thrown into this during the 2005 session for my first session, and I found that I was supposed to be here. It was like a calling of what I had been called to do before in law enforcement. Some of the committees that I remember the most and I have the greatest love for is judiciary. And when I first was there, Wayne Krieger was our chair of that committee. Former state police officer, salty senior trooper, game guy, and then the other one that was in there was Jeff Barker. And Jeff and I we've grown close together. But there was that bond right away. Because even though, thank God he had 4 years of training with the state police before he went over with Portland Police Bureau. But it was fascinating to get together with us and to hear and talk and share stories, and we'd be all on the same track. And that's what I found about judiciary, that almost 95% of the time we went in to work together. We would stumble onto things that we might not like, but we'd find a path to get there. And that's what I loved about judiciary. The other committee that I just truly fell in love with was Human Services. And I went in kicking. Let me tell you, when Jeff Merkley was our Speaker of the House in 2007, Democrats had taken over, the Speaker was one of the members on Human Services and Women's Wellness Committee. Lord have mercy. But there was 4 guys, or 4 women, and 3 guys. And some of you know this already, but Carolyn Tomei was our chair. And I got to tell you, she's as left as you get. But I learned to really care and love Carolyn Tomei. I learned things about, wow, we could work together. We can make things happen through this committee. And that's what was another continuation for me for Human Services. And so when, Madam Speaker, you asked me to jump back into Human Services last year during the full session, I jumped at it in a heartbeat. Because that's just a committee I think the two work so well together, Judiciary and Human Services. Well, I get back on track here. That first year was in 2005. We started in January and we ended the 3rd day of August. That was before we had the short session in between all of that, and that came later in 2008. But Wayne Krieger had asked me to do something and to do nothing more for that entire year, and that was to rewrite the civil and criminal asset forfeiture laws. I'd had that background from having run a narcotic team years before, so what we have today is from that right that we had back in 2005 that still governs it. And I had a chance to really learn to work across the aisle, get this, even learn to work with guys like Dave Fidanki from ACLU and some others. And I mean, but you know what? That's what we needed. And that's what I learned. My favorite session, obviously, was 30-30 back in 2011, because, Madam Speaker, you and I were the pro tem speakers at that time, and it was kind of a hoot, working together and get together every morning sometimes and just visit, where were we going, those kind of things. But it was just, it was a fun time. There's been some many difficult, challenging days, but there's been a lot of welcoming ones. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. You've been so kind and accepting. Haven't always been able to please everyone, to make everyone happy, but I certainly have tried to make a difference. That's the thing. My heart's full as I leave. I think of the amazing relationships I've built the last 14 years. I'm beyond grateful. I'm thankful for the friends in the lobby that I've made, and there are some dear friends. I'm thankful for the service workers throughout this building, and for my former colleagues with the state police that are here as well throughout this building. Some of them I know extremely well. I'm thankful for those over on the Senate as well that I have come to know quite well, for all of you here too. But I'm also thankful to the Lord for this opportunity. So once again, thank you for supporting me. It's truly been an honor.